Wednesday, August the 28th. Gang, it's, there's nothing really to test on these Wednesdays because it's not like it hasn't been a maximal effort deadlift cycle. It has been a posterior chain, which can mean a lot of things. And yet we tested that kind of thing last week with Christine. I've used the word test a few times. I think I really mean celebrate. And today's not going to be much different than last week. Instead, however, of a benchmark like what we had last week with Christine, what we have today is what I'm referring to as a deconstruction of a different girl benchmark workout called Elizabeth. And Elizabeth is 21-15-9 of deadlifts and handstand push-ups. But instead what we have today is what hopefully would be a longer than Elizabeth workout with a 10-minute AMRAP of burpee deadlifts. Well, handstand push-ups first, 10 handstand push-ups and 10 burpee deadlifts. So real quick, in case you are not familiar with burpee deadlifts, Beyond the Whiteboard lets us follow this flight of fancy as to what to even call that movement. It accommodates many different names for that movement. I believe some people would refer to it as a dumbbell burpee deadlift. It is traditionally, I've heard it called just a burpee, a dumbbell burpee, where the implication is that of course you have to deadlift it. You pretend like you're doing a burpee, you just happen to be holding a pair of weights the whole time. And that's what a dumbbell burpee is. You drop to the floor while you're holding the pair of dumbbells, and then you stand up with said pair of dumbbells. You don't have to jump. There's just a stand up. And these are tricky, and these will light up the posterior chain a little bit if you're not lifting or deadlifting, even if it's a lighter amount of weight, with your legs. You must brace your core at the bottom as you're about to stand up and fully stand up. Pull your shoulders back behind your, stand up tall with your shoulders back behind the weight. And then you've got the handstand push-ups. Now in a 10-minute AMRAP, what we want you to know about these handstand push-ups is, of course, that we never want to go to failure on a handstand push-up. Many of you will already have modifications picked out for it, and that's great. That's what we want. Certainly on the table today, we have anything from a pike position. Certainly on the table today, we have anything like a seated dumbbell press. Certainly, there is a idea of doing these as like maybe a 1 or 2 ab mats, kipping handstand push-ups. Certainly though, there is also, of course, for me in my classes, the idea that you can do a couple handstand push-ups and then supplement a couple of handstand push-ups on the wall with something else that allows you to kind of keep moving. We don't want the handstand push-ups to be like a 2 or 3 minute bottleneck. That's, unless you really, really don't mind whether or not you get a really great workout in today. But of course, we also want you to have the feeling like I'm allowed to RX this if I want to. Of course. Safely, yes, of course you can do that. If you come up with a modification that's going to allow you to sort of move and take, I don't know, a minute or less on those handstand push-ups, and this is a pretty potent workout, like a good feeling Wednesday workout. So it gets all of the same sort of muscle groups as Elizabeth, which of course we didn't want to do another 21-15-9, but it's not as, it doesn't put that same pressure of a benchmark on you. Another thing to know about this particular benchmark, we'll compare it to the high intensity of Fran. High intensity push-pull. This is also push-pull, but on different planes, so it won't feel even anywhere close to the way that Fran felt. In fact, the pull of Fran is the hardest part for most of us, the pull-up part that leaves you with, the lats feeling pretty dead. The pull of this workout is a deadlift, a burpee deadlift, so it's more of a lower in the posterior chain. It won't light up your lats, although the handstand push-ups might. So very interesting workout. For me, 5 plus 14. So I expect that to be a pretty competitive one today, if only because my handstand push-ups can go unbroken at that volume, or with that amount of time in between sets. The thing for me that slowed me down quite a bit was those burpee deadlifts, or dumbbell burpees, We keep interchangeably using those terms because they're the same thing. I never did that unbroken. I don't know exactly what unbroken would look like. I just know that a couple of times I had to stop at 5 and really like breathe it out a little bit. So I think you guys are gonna like this one. Maybe be surprised by it. Have that modification for the handstand push-ups picked out early, break it up often, live to see another day. As long as we get a push out of your modification for handstand push-ups, particularly something overhead, it could even be a push-up. That'd be fine for some people. Push-pull, we're good to go. All right, guys, enjoy.